In today's Leeds news, Leeds to offer Sunderland striker a deal, EFL pressurised by Championship clubs for Leicester FFP breach, Archie in for payday, and this week's Loan Watch. Morning folks, Jer here at The View on Thursday the 4th of April with your Leeds United news. Hope everyone's having a really good week. There's a little bit of stuff to get through. We won't waste time. We'll crack on and we'll get into this. We'll start off with more news around what's going on behind the scenes at the underage setup at Leeds United. We've talked continuously over the past couple of weeks about the rebuild project that's going on behind the scenes with the Leeds United Academy under 18s and under 21s. Greta Steinson has now employed more and more people behind the scenes in key roles as he starts to shake up how Leeds operate from a youth academy perspective. Leeds brought Josh McDonald, Rory Mahady and Louis Peary down from Scotland in the summer. Two of those three now being given professional deals, with McDonald and Peary signing a couple of weeks ago. We've now, according to the Daily Telegraph, Leeds are said to be after another player, and this is Sunderland striker Mason Cotcher. We did speak about Cotcher a little bit a while ago when he was on trial at Leeds. Now, accordingly, Cotcher has caught the eye. He's been at Leeds on trial for quite a few weeks. He was on trial at Manchester United and Arsenal as well, where he scored on both those trial periods. Cotcher is said to have impressed Leeds United personnel during his time on loan. A fee would need to be agreed for the player now, or a compensation package would need to be put into place with Sunderland in order to get a deal done. Cotcher has played 3 times for Leeds during this trial period, scoring on 2 occasions. Leeds without Marley Wilson now, as they have to run him within the 18s season due to a back injury from him. Mason Cotcher coming in might actually fill a hole for them there and help them with their end of season run for the under 18s situation. So good player Mason Cotcher. He is an England under 17 international as well, so another young international potentially coming into the Leeds United fold, and more information on that and whether it gets done or not as and when it happens. Moving on, let's talk about some FFP stuff. And the Yorkshire Evening Post have an article today where basically they are saying that the EFL are reportedly coming under pressure from several Championship clubs to take action and sanction Leicester City following the publication and confirmation of their latest set of financial losses. Leicester published financials on Tuesday, which showed a financial loss of £89.7 million. This coming on the back of their previous season's losses of £92.5 million. Top 5 clubs are permitted to have a loss of £105 million over a 3-year period. Leicester's losses over that same period massively eclipsed that, with £215.3 million in losses. A points deduction is very likely to follow Leicester into the Premier League should they get there. The Daily Telegraph are now also reporting that Championship clubs are calling for punishment to be put on Leicester this season before they move into the Premier Division. The Championship clubs' concerns relate to a sporting advantage that has been gained by Leicester by breaching the rules. Leicester are also under a current transfer embargo, which basically means they can't sign players or sign new contracts, but they can sell players and may need to sell players before June in order to become some way financially liable for the next set of periods to avoid another points deduction in the Premier League again should they get there. The Championship clubs believe Leicester have had an unfair advantage due to their financial mismanagement, but Leicester themselves have said that they are keen to fight this and will fight any unlawful action brought against them as a result of this. They're in this weird limbo phase and they're trying to play both sides against the middle. They've told the Premier League that they don't believe that they should be responsible for any financial losses because they're now in the Championship, but they've also told the EFL that they shouldn't be under scrutiny or under the EFL's profit and sustainability rules because half of that time period was spent in the Premier League. They seem to want to have it both ways and find this loophole to try and stop them getting punished by either side, but that seems very unlikely that will happen. Will they get a points deduction in the Championship? It's very unlikely. It looks like it will come as some form of a fine, but there are Championship clubs now pushing and would want Leicester punished before the remainder of this season, whatever 5-6 weeks are left in this season. So if they're going to do it, they'd want to do it soon, but that's a huge amount of losses that you would see definitely impacting Leicester should they go into the Premier League. They will have to sell players in the summers. Even if they do get promoted, they will have to sell players. Some of the players they brought in last year for this season are also name checked as part of the reason for the financial losses as well. So there was a decision to spend money even though they knew they would breach the rules. There's a lot of people, even people commented on this channel before, where people have said spend your way out of the Championship, break the rules, get out of it before they can punish you. You're now seeing the reason why you probably shouldn't do that, because The rules are going to be amended, but there is also clear movement from both sets of organisations to stop this from happening, and there is a conversation between the EFL and the Premier League to align their rules in order to stop this from happening in the future. Moving on, yesterday we spoke about Archie Gray and potential interest from European giants in the player. Today, according to Give Me Sport, Leeds could be set to offer Archie Gray a brand new deal weeks after his previous deal came into effect. Gray agreed a new deal with Leeds until 2028, which came into effect at the beginning of this year. And the report claims the 49ers could now hand Archie Gray a significant pay rise in order to keep the player at the club long term. Yesterday, as I said, we mentioned that Bayern Munich and Real Madrid had watched Archie Gray play against Hull City. Manchester United, Liverpool, Manchester City and Newcastle have all been name-checked as interested parties in the player. Gray's deal that he's on currently is rumoured, according to Capology, to have him on £5,000 a week, which is an annual salary of £260,000 a year. A pay rise would see Archie get a significant pay rise at Leeds that would bring him closer in line with a lot more of the senior pros that are at the club. Archie is a big talent for Leeds. You want to keep players happy. You want to make sure he stays at the club long term. The 4-year deal is fine. £5,000 a week for a player who could potentially be playing Premier League football with Leeds next season is a very low amount of money, and Leeds would seem to be doing the right thing in order to give the player a salary that matches the talent and the appearances that he's made for Leeds and likely to make for Leeds into the coming years. So fingers crossed that keeps everyone happy and all the wolves away from the door. We're going to wrap up today's news with Loan Watch, and we'll get stuck into that now. Luke Ayling played 90 minutes against Southampton in their 1-1 draw. Midweek, he played 90 minutes and had an assist in their 2-0 win against Sheffield Wednesday, his third assist of the season. Sam Greenwood played 75 minutes from the start against Southampton at the weekend for Middlesbrough, and then played 90 minutes in the 2-0 win midweek against Sheffield Wednesday, where he unfortunately missed a penalty. Diego Llorente was an unused substitute for Roma in their 0-0 draw with Lecce. Ian Poveda missed out on his weekend game due to injury, but came back and was on the bench for their game against Borough, coming on in the 62nd minute in their 2-0 loss to Middlesbrough. Lewis Bate had 74 minutes under his belt against Walsall in MK Dons 5-0 win. He then played a further 62 minutes in MK Dons draw with Notts County. Max Fober was a second half substitute, coming on the 70th minute for Mönchengladbach in their 3-0 loss to Freiburg. Brendan Aronson played 65 minutes for Berlin in their 0-0 draw to Frankfurt. Jack Harrison played 72 minutes in Everton's 2-1 loss to Bournemouth and was an unused substitute midweek in their 1-1 draw with Newcastle. Mark Roca is injured and missed out on Betis' 3-2 loss to Girona. Cody Drama played 90 minutes versus QPR in their 2-1 loss, and then was an unused substitute midweek in their 1-0 win against Preston. Mixed fortunes for a lot of the Leeds loanees there. Also should point out, Darko JB's loan with Plymouth has finished. He's returned to Leeds United due to a groin injury. Jeremiah Mullen is out potentially until the end of the season with an injury up in Inverness, Caldon and Thistle, and Rasmus Christensen is out long term with a thigh injury. Not a great week, a lot of unused substitute appearances for players. Diego Llorente now finding himself permanently on the bench for Roma after having a very impressive first half of the season. Whether there's some kidology going on with Roma here in order to get a price down lower for the player remains to be seen. He could end up coming back to Leeds and being sold by Leeds directly, which would definitely play into Leeds' hands and give Leeds more power over the feed that they could potentially get for Llorente. Max Fober finding himself on the bench a couple of times now for Mönchengladbach after a very impressive season for him as well. There seems to be a lot of, all of a sudden, the Leeds loanees who are playing very, very well now all of a sudden find themselves on the bench and not playing as we come into the end of the season, where deals will have to be done with these clubs if they're going to stay there. We've talked about them an awful lot this year already, as a lot of these players are going to come back and be sold to other clubs. That seems to be what's going to happen. Anyway, folks, that's it for me today. Massive thanks as always for watching the channel. I will see you tomorrow morning for more Leeds news. Have a great day. Talk to you then. Bye.